Hi Math 6-5. This is the video for lesson 119, which is located on page 613 in your textbook and is scheduled for April 23rd, which is a Thursday, the last Thursday of the year. Your time test for lesson 119 is a test K, and that's located on page 205. Okay, so I'm going to get started with the lesson using your book, looking at this chart. It's different from the one we just looked at in lesson, I think that was lesson 118 that we looked at. It's a little bit different. It takes it one step further. Okay, so I'm looking at this chart on the page 614. Again, it's set up the same way, but it adds something else. As we talked about with adding or subtracting, it's very important you line up your decimals. Multiplication, you do not line them up. You count your decimal places and make sure that your answer has the same number of decimal places as your original problem. When we divided by a whole number, the important thing to remember was to bring that decimal point straight up. Now, today, we're going to be dividing by a decimal, and this gives you a reminder for what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to jump into a practice problem there. Basically, what this one is saying, if you were to talk about the steps, it's over, over, up. So I'll explain what that looks like in just a second. With the reminder, you can always fill empty places with 0 and add them to the end of numbers without changing the value of the number. Okay, so that's the chart on page 614. It's a great reminder of all the various ways we add, subtract, multiply, and divide with decimals. So let's jump into our first practice problem. Not a practice problem. Our first example. Sorry. Okay, so our first example, as you see, we have 2 34/100 divided by 6/10. So this is a decimal and this is a decimal. We're dividing a decimal by a decimal. And we can't do that very easily. So we are going to move our decimal points over. So we're going to take 6/10 and turn it into a whole number and move it there. Then we're going to take 2 34/100 and move our decimal point one number here and pull it straight up. So basically, we've multiplied both our divisor and our dividend by 10. Okay, if we were to do that, let's look at our original number was 2.34 and 2 34/100 divided by 6/10. If we were to multiply both of those by 10, which remember we do that, 10 over 10 is equal to 1. Okay, but if we look at the top, 2.34 multiplied by 10, we move it one place and it would become 23 4/10. Okay, our bottom, if we multiplied 6/10 times 10, we'd move it one place because there's 1 0 in 10, and it would become 6. So our numbers would be 23 4/10 divided by, because remember the fraction bar also means divided by 6. So that's what we have here now. We have 23 4/10 divided by 6. Now we're dividing by a whole number, and we've done that before. And that's something that we know how to do. So let's start down that path. All right, 23 divided by 6. The closest we can get without going over would be times 3. 3 times 6 is 18. So now we subtract. We can't do 3 minus 8, so we're going to mark that out, make the 2 a 1, and loan 10 over here to be 13. Okay? 13 minus 8 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. We're going to bring down, that's our next step, bring down our 4. Now we have a new division problem. 54 divided by 6 is 9. 9 times 6 is 54. Subtract, and we get 0. Now we don't have anything else to bring down. We don't have any that would look like a remainder, even though we don't do remainders and decimals. So our answer is 3 9/10. So that's where the first thing you do is move over the decimal that's your divisor, and then you move over the decimal in your dividend the same amount, 1 space. This one went 1 space, that one goes 1 space, and then you bring it straight up. So that's where the term over, over, up, over, over, up. Okay? So let's look at another example. So my first step is to move it over to be a 3, to move this one over to be 1.2, and bring it straight up. Okay? Now, I'm going to go and do my division. 1 divided by 3 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. Subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. Bring down my 2. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Subtract, and I get 0. So my answer is 4/10. I moved over 1, over 1, and up. Okay? Over, and up. Okay. Let's look at number 3 here. My first step is to bring this over to here, bring this decimal over to here, and bring it straight up. So now I can start dividing. 2 divided by 4 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. Bring my 4 down. So now I have a new division problem. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Subtract, and I get 0. I have nothing more to bring down. I have no remainder or any number that looks like a remainder. So I am done. And my answer is 6/10. I went over 1, so on my divisor, over 1 on my dividend, and moved it straight up to my quotient. Okay? So your lesson practice problems are on page 615. And as a bonus for watching this video, this is lesson practice A, if you did it with me. And this is lesson practice D, if you did it with me. So you have 2 done, and you only have, looks like 7 to go. So again, page 615. And there'll be a video for lesson 20 coming soon. Bye, guys.